So, which AI skills should you learn today in a world full of AI? Skill number one is to learn how to use AI. First, stay ahead of the curve. Second, stop using ChatGPT for stupid questions like what am I going to cook today? Start learning how to use it for your business, for your work, because those are the things that really matter. And number three, find accounts on Twitter and LinkedIn to get new information. For example, you should know what Perplexity is or what you can build with Claude Code. This does not mean that you should know how to build a whole app, but it should get you an idea of what you can build with it. You know, when these like big companies make annual conferences, you should kind of know what they're talking about and how to apply um, these new technologies into your business, into your work. Those are things that are very, very important. And you should kind of know how to use them and what these people are talking about in these annual conferences. These big companies like Anthropic or Google, you know, who are big in the AI game, you should kind of like know what they're saying. I mean, AI is really just like back when the internet came out. There were people who um, didn't have a website, and there were people who decided to make one. And of course, the ones that made their website are the ones who won, because that was just getting you on top of the search engine. And of course, that is very, very important. That was very, very important back then. Now it is important to know how to implement AI, how to use AI, the same as internet was back then. So skill number two is to get close to revenue generation. There are three types of people in a company. There's the one who does the work, there's the one who is close to the money and makes money, and then there's the one operating it. For example, as a management consultant, as a junior, your job is probably to make PowerPoint slides. It's probably to um, get on calls with experts and that type of stuff. Um, but the problem is that is doing the work. Look, that's fine, but the problem is your job is not making the money. Your job is doing the work. But in a post AI world, it is very, very important that you are the one making the money. Doing the work and the ones operating, they will be getting replaced more and more and more by AI because that is just how things work. But look, I have good news for you. There will always be a need for people making money. And look, this is why people at accounting firms and law firms get paid a lot. Not because they make better PowerPoint slides, but because they spend time outside and build relationships until they bring these new clients into the firm. Look, in a world full of AI, there will always be some type of commerce. And if you can be the one to bring money into the company, bring clients into the company, then you will always be way more relevant than if you are just the one doing the work. For example, if you are the type of person to answer calls for customer support, I'm very, very sorry, but you will not be relevant in a post AI world. There's people nowadays replacing these customer support call guys, gurus, with AI systems that are way better than just a human being. And so that will not make you really relevant in a post AI world. Rather, if you are the type of person to build systems for customer retention, which basically means people will not quit your, subscription, for example, and you make them pay for a few more months. That is way, way more relevant in a post AI world than if you were to just answer calls for people. That is irrelevant. Now we get to skill number three, which is personal branding. In your company, you want to be known as the guy who makes money. That is just how it works. Look, the promotion will not come from how good you are, but rather how good your manager thinks you are. Look, maybe no one understands what you're doing, but if you're known for getting things done and people enjoy working with you, you are way more likely to succeed in whatever line you're working in. This is just how things work. Look, but let me tell you this. What if you could build your personal brand outside of just your company? Maybe on LinkedIn or on X. You know, you could tell people how you use AI for your company. And this is good for your company because it gains reputation, and for yourself because you gain reputation too. You could even build yourself like a newsletter where you share something like behind the scenes of your work. You can even build a YouTube channel like I am and give people advice on how to use AI and what things are important nowadays. Look, even if AI is doing the work, we humans will always be responsible for where AI allocates resources, where AI spends money, and where AI is going to be pointed at. For example, if you're the person known for AI for accountants, and there is like this big conference for accountants, and they're like, oh yeah, we need to talk about AI because this is, you know, what's on the agenda nowadays. Will someone else's name come to mind, or will it be yours because you are the one who built the personal brand, who did these posts on LinkedIn, X, YouTube? Your name should come to mind. You should be the thought leader in this space. And you know, the problem nowadays is that people still have this old school thinking of, oh, I need a credential to teach, I need experience, maybe some credibility to teach. But, you know, in the new world, it is by virtue of doing the teaching that people see you as legit. For example, you don't need any qualifications for doing videos about, I don't know, productivity, for example. Like right now, you could just get really good at using AI. You could get really close to revenue generation. You could start sharing content online like I am right now. Right now, you could just get really good at using AI. You could get really close to revenue generation. You could start posting content online like I am. And please, of course, don't give out any company secrets, you know, because that will get you fired. But just be helpful to others. Just be open to help people out in this new space. And then in a post AI world where people need your expertise in your specific area, for example, someone in your company says, "Oh, we want to do a talk about this topic," and then they remember you doing it and posting videos about it. They will probably come to you and, for example, say, "Hey, Elias, do you want to get paid this amount of money for talking about this topic?" You know, the power of being known for being the type of person who is competent at this thing or this topic is super, super valuable in a post AI world. So now there's two types of personal branding. The first one being the word of mouth type of personal branding, where basically you're just known by word of mouth. So for example, a friend of mine gets asked like, oh, who's a great accountant in, I don't know, Vienna? And then this my friend, of course, tells, oh, this guy, I know this guy. He's a good accountant in Vienna. And then the client comes to me. And now the second type of personal branding is online personal branding, where there's just for example, you type in accountant in Vienna, and there is a guy who's optimizing for the search engine to get out at the top. And of course, you will then click on this guy and look what he's doing, you know? Maybe this person even has an Instagram account or YouTube account, and you click on it and they give some cool advice, and you come across their videos and you're like, oh yeah, sick, these guys know what they're doing, like these guys know what they're talking about. And that is an online personal brand. So what you want to have is a personal brand, in other words, a professional reputation, that is looked upon with favor amongst the people who are in your industry. You want to be known like, oh yeah, Jack is an amazing IT guy, and oh yeah, Harry is an amazing developer, you know? That kind of stuff. And if this was to go further than just pure word of mouth and reach the mass markets, it would be even good because just people in your niche would know you for what you're doing. And it's not like you want to be famous like Brad Pitt or something like that, but you just want to be known in your niche, and that's good. For example, you're a consultant and you're known for having done an amazing job at this company, you know, and you give a talk at a conference where there are loads of people of this industry and niche that you're in. And by having and doing this talk, you're increasing your personal brand in this particular space. And doing it on LinkedIn is the same thing, basically, you know? If you've come to the end of this video and you're serious about AI, I will be posting every week either about AI or about productivity. So thank you for watching and see you next time.